Thank you, Bharat. So our next speaker is Thirupurasundari ma'am. If we had to talk about her, I think it can never be enough. She is a multi-talented person making a huge difference in society. She has an initiative, Nam Veedu Nam Ooru Nam Kadai, which is an NGO that helps and collaborates with other NGOs. She's worked on various projects giving voice to the voiceless. Her down to earth nature, compassion, and determination shows in her work. She's a storyteller at heart and is also the present secretary of the Madras Literary Society. She has proved that actions speak louder than words. In a nutshell, we're extremely honored to have you here with us today. Thank you so much for being here, ma'am. I'm Shweta, I'm from Novel Nation, and this is Andrea, who you would have been coordinating with. Andrea would be asking you a couple of questions, and we're so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Savita. Thank you so much. Are we doing this in Tamil or English?
English, you can switch.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. I just wanted to know the mode. And two corrections. It's not an NGO. Namvidu Namur Namkadai is not a NGO. It's a platform. It's for everybody. And that's how it has been, and that is how it will be.
Okay.
And also not voice for the voiceless. It is just facilitating different voices to be heard, because it's a long time that we have been voiced for many voices. I think it's the right time to pass on the mic and let them speak and give them a comfortable, safe space to speak.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Andrea,
something I wanted to add. Yeah. Thank you, Sweta. Thank you so much for your introduction. Yeah, so happy to be here, and thanks Noble Nation as well. Andrea, you're in mute.
You can hear me now?
Perfect. Yes.
Okay.
Or else I had to repeat then. Yeah.
Okay. So after you completed your professional education, what was the first opportunity or a thought that you had that led to where you are right now?
Okay. If you ask for professional qualification, like when I was doing my BR, I had an opportunity to go to Birmingham to do a semester during my third year. And only when I went there, I realized that it was the same university, the Gandhian architect, Laurie Baker. Laurie Baker was an architect who, I'm using the word was for a reason. He didn't want to practice architecture. He came back to India as a part of the team which came to give TV shots. So he came here, he saw the different types of architecture here, and he was really inspired. And then he started to practice here and later came down to Kerala. And then he created the brick revolution, according to me, like building for the people. So that was in my third year. So that was a spark, but it took me till I complete my master's, which was urban and regional planning in France. And when I came here, all I wanted to do was change. I want to do this. I want to do that. I always put me in that pedestal. You come with a lot of ego when you finish college, and especially when you finish masters, you have this truckload of ego with horns and all that, right? You're like, listen to me, people. I'm here to change. But yeah, so when I was going and talking to people, and I think I would have told this story n number of times to children in different platforms, but never something which I get bored of. Malikaka is a person, Malikaka, Amudaka, two people are people who run Putti flower shop in Amjikare. And they simply called me and asked me, architecture student, urban designer, செவுரு பெயிண்ட் பண்ண போறீங்களா, கலர் அடிக்க போறீங்களா, என்ன பண்ண போறீங்க? I was shocked. Why is she asking this? She's like, are you going to take pictures with that? That was not the selfie time. That was 2011. Are you going to take pictures and all that? That kind of broke my ego. And I asked her, like, people are doing this for you. They're painting these walls for you. They're painting this for you. They're making your space so well. And then said, if she mentioned an incident, like when one Kutti guy, one of them, which was painted in Amchikare at that time, there was a wall art which was done. Someone said, don't lean on the wall, it's beautifully done. And then she simply told me in Tamil, it in English as well. She's like, so the purpose is more important than the aesthetics of a place, which we forget most of the time. So I think that was one spark, not any major thing. This small episode with from my house kind of changed the direction of my life. Like what Nambidu is what Malikaka started that time. Like when I came master. So yeah, that made me understand that you try to give solutions for so many things. You try to understand so many things, but it's important to listen to people. Sometimes you want to be in a pedestal and decide for them. Sometimes if you listen, you can go, and that consensus is required. That was a short question which I gave a long answer.
That's it. Okay, so next is
Yeah,
a long
Andrea. Yes.
question. So, where did your love for
Yeah.
storytelling come from? Like, did it play an important role in your life as a child or even as an adult?
Okay, I would like to answer in two parts. First
Okay.
thing, my father was an avid reader. My grandfather used to have a library in his office, and he used to take me to all these libraries. I loved books. That was one part. I loved to read, but there was only certain kind of books I liked to read. There may be other books which I wanted to read, but I was never able to read, either because they were too big or it was too complicated for me to understand. I'm talking about 7th standard, 8th standard, that particular time. And there were a lot of English books which I was introduced to. For example, I remember standing in the entrance of Odyssey Adayar to get the first copy of Harry Potter. I think fifth or sixth book, I don't remember. That was the pre-Amazon time where you have to stand in a queue to get your books, right? The first edition which comes in. But at the same time, I love certain Tamil books. I didn't know where it was. I mean, that was my mistake. I think I was not aware. It was happening. I was not aware of those happenings. So that was the other part of it. So I started reading about where book launches happen, where book readings happen, and all that. So while doing this, I realized that there is something called Kadai Solligal, people who read a book and then they narrate it to you, because school colleges level or in schools you have the storytelling, you have this narrative, so many different things, like there used to be competition. When did it stop? When did that went out of you? Because we start school with that, right? You read something and you narrate it. Yaar vandala, people will ask, school, what did you learn in school? Narrate and show it to us. So that's one common thing which used to happen. When did it stop? So major impact was when I heard Baba Chalaturai, his storytelling is like my favorite. I love his narrative. And any book, he can make the story sound so very interesting. And I like his quotes, which got me into storytelling. ஒரு கதையை பத்தி சொல்றப்போ he will mention இந்த மாதிரி அது வந்து எழுதினவரோட கதையா, ஏன் கதையா, இல்ல வேற எதுவும் தெரியாது, பட் இதுதான் கதை. சோ ஜெயமோகன் அவங்களோட யான டாக்டர் கதை பத்தி சொல்றப்ப அவர் இதை சொல்லியிருப்பாரு. ஸோ ரெஸ்பான்சிபிலிட்டி ஆஃப் like you have to convince the audience to listen to your story. At the end of the day, you tell your story. அவங்களோடது got me into this work. So street side storytelling லாம் பண்றப்போ it was easy for me. I know the story and I conveyed it. So that was, I'm talking about 2013 and 14. On the roadside, we'll sit, we'll talk with that auto காரண்ணா, அவங்க கிட்ட பேசுவோம், அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு so ஒரு புக்கா எடுத்து படிக்கிறதை விட it was easy to know the story. That became like a conversation than reading. Book reading எனக்கு பிடிக்கும், பட் அது ஒரு ஸ்டோரியா சொல்றப்போ it was interesting, which is precisely the reason I try to be a storyteller. I don't know if I am a storyteller yet, but I love to get to a place to listen to what you're saying. Like,
Okay. So,
yeah, I hope that answered your question.
yes, it is. So, how do you keep your inner child going in various situations, especially when reality is harsh at times?
Books or stories or listening to stories, because that is like altogether a different world, right? It's just very simple. Like the person who cleans my house, அதாவது என் வீடுல வெளியில ரோடு பெருப்பாங்க இல்லையா, she found this somewhere on the road and she's like, நீங்க தான் இதெல்லாம் படிப்பீங்கல்ல, read அப்படின்னு சொல்லி என்கிட்ட கொடுத்துருப்பாங்க. That is how much people know me, and that is how much people know I read. Finally, I found that this is about city of learning, and it is like a part of the book யாரோ கிழிச்சிருக்காங்க போல. So sometimes I was just reading this today and I completely forgot what I had to do today, but I was just reading this and it had a quote about a library. It had a quote about, I assume this is a book about Calcutta from what I knew. I think reading or reading something gets me to that another world. It really makes me happy. And being with COVID time is difficult, but having workshops with children, heritage trails with children, other than that, to
Uh,
a
Ma'am, I think the
space that
network is
always
a
gives me.
little bit like we can't hear you properly.
Now can you hear me? I think if I keep this closer, you can hear me properly. Is that okay?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear better?
Hello?
But
Yeah, without actions, probably I should keep this close works.
okay.
So I
So,
was telling reading, or yeah, that gives me that. Yeah, it takes me to a different world.
okay. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us about book restoration and book adoption that you do in the Madras Literary Society?
Okay. With respect to my society, it's Mr. Ranganathan who does restoration. He's a technical restorer of books. What we do is preventive conservation. We maintain the books and all that. Personally, I work with Dr. Jairaj on. He's a mentor for me in terms of book conservation. Very old books like waste from like 200-year-old books, or it could be a 30-year-old
Ma'am, we're not
book,
able to
which is
hear you
very
properly.
personal to a family. It could be a photograph. Nothing is clear. Ask her to turn off a video, maybe. So should I turn off the video? Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am. Maybe I'll also turn off my video. Wait, maybe you can have yours on.
Can you try now? Is my voice audible now?
Yeah, I feel it's better.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So what I was, thank you, Shweta. I saw your message. So what I was telling is, so preventive conservation or conservation per se is prolonging a book. See, you can't restore something to eternity, but it is just the life of a very rare or an important book or something like, again, important has different meanings, right? It can be personally important, it can be socially important, it can be economically important. It is prolonged life of a particular object. In this case, it is a book. To do first level cleaning, you have to. Is it audible now? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Now it is.
Yeah, okay. First, you have to do first level cleaning. Then you have to do something called dehumidification to all the humidity from that, and then you clean it for finer residues. What there is something called deacidification, and then you have to bind it, you have to put the pieces together. So it's a long drawn process. What I told is percent of it. It is a very expert process, which is done to build a life of a book or or an article or a photograph or anything.
Okay.
Yes.
So Nam Veedu Nam Oor Nam Kadai has done a lot of projects in and for Chennai and its people. Do you find it easy to connect to the people in the localities?
It depends where. Okay, my focus has always West Madras, which is like when I say Anjikarai, right? When you take when you take movies or anything, Anj is always looked down as like the dialogue. I think a local is the dialogue, right? So this has been west part of Madras, which is Amjikarai, Aduakarai, which is part of Ananagar, and then that part of the city is like my focus, and the Kuvam in that area. So that is where I have lived all my life. So that is a part I. Otherwise, other heritage work or a community dwelling is the triplet is in Paris Corner,
Hello.
heritage walks, they are all social history trails, which talks about people who lived in that place. Hello.
Hello.
Priya, can you hear me? Or did you
It,
Hello?
we can hear you, and then it goes up a little bit, and then
I was just telling major Madras, but we have done walks in Paris Convent a couple of times in Mylapore. But majorly, it's West Madras, Ananagar, Amjikarai, Chennai.
okay. Okay.
And know your intentions. You want
So, you have also written a book
they,
about Anna Nagar, right?
yes, it was not a published book. It was more of interviews of people or who visit.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, we can't actually hear you.
Is it completely clear?
Yeah, for this, I couldn't hear you like at all.
Okay, now can you? Hello. Now is it
Hello.
clear?
Yes, ma'am, this is clear.
Uh,
But I think the
yeah. So
disturbance
I
is too
was telling it was not a book. It was a booklet about. Yeah, it was. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute.
okay, sure. Hello.
And I think she has left the meeting.
Maybe trying.
Yeah, Bharat, you can make, yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am, it's much clear.
Yeah. I hope this is okay. I'm so sorry. There is a internet issue, I guess. Yeah. So you were asking me about Ananagar. It's not a book. It's a booklet which is a compilation of different interviews. It is about post-independence settlements in Madras, specifically concentrating on Ananagar or how it was and how it became.
Okay, but why especially Anna Nagar?
Okay, like I said, it didn't exactly start with Ananagar. It was more into Amjikarai. So while talking about Amjikarai, we realized that Amjikarai, Nadavamkarai, Periyakudal in the banks of Kuvam, which is Kuvam has been a cluster of villages in west part of what we call Madras now. Right. And they have temple settlements. They have houses which are more than 300 years, 350 years in the Kuvam Karai. So yeah, so that was one part which was intriguing because whenever I say Ananagar, people always think it is something very modern. So when I say Amjikarai, people will always like look down on it. So might as well explore and find what it is. So that was something which started as an interest right after college, which I continued, and still we do interviews. It's been 8, 9 years. Still people call us, they send us pictures of old Ananagar. And yeah, it's a social history project about how people perceive localities and how certain places are looked down based on how it looks and how that should not be there. Yeah.
Okay. So, what is your earliest memory of reading or of books?
Earliest memory is there was a huge atlas book. I'm not very sure. It's almost the size of a chart paper. It's a thick atlas, world atlas, which used to be at home when I was probably 2 years or something. Should I start my video? Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So that was like the huge chart paper size atlas which used to be there. That's my first memory. And I remember Appa used to have this huge Robert Ludlum books every time. And I used to wonder how someone will finish such a big book. And Tata used to read some mining books sometime. And he used to read, he was a doctorate in mining. So you always had those technical graph books, drawing books and all that. So that was always there. And for me, still, I like listening to stories. I love reading, but if you ask me whether you love listening to stories or read a book, I would prefer listening to it, like someone reading it to me, someone talking about that book to me. That's more important because the person adds a part of them in the book, and a part of the book stays with the person too. I think that's the magic of books, right? So that's very interesting to know. Like same story, if you hear from 10 different people, it's be very drastically different. You'll be like,
Yeah.
are they talking about the same story? So I love listening to different. It's like a movie to me. Like talk to me about books. Like that's something which really interests me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the work that you have done
Hmm.
has some sort of touch of stories or nostalgia or emotions. Do you agree?
So true, because like for example, as an architect, when I create a space, when I build a vault, when I build a dome, or when I talk with my artisans about, well, this color work, this line works, it's basically storytelling, right? If you're an architect, you create a story in terms of space. When you are a musician, you create a story or a narrative based on tunes. When you are even a column, when you put a column, you create a story with your column. Where when someone goes by, you try to convey something through that column, right? And I think the way we dress, the way we talk, it's always to convey something. There is a story, everything. So I believe that any serious issue or any taboo subjects or anything which you feel is uncomfortable also, to get it to a person, a story is a very good way, especially to children, even sensitive subjects, right? You can reach children when you have when you do storytelling. I think stories are, and at the end of the day, we are humans. We like listening to Kadar. So we love listening, right? So yeah.
Okay. So, we have a few hypothetical questions for you,
Okay.
like a rapid fire.
Okay.
So, what would your perfect planet be like if you had the chance to design it?
Architecturally,
Anything, not just architecturally, in
okay. I
general.
think whenever we talk about negative things, right, we always say, oh, illala, there is something good about it. But there is one negative thing which doesn't have any good thing to it, which is judging people. I think a world where let people do whatever they want without giving them like this is bad, this is good, this is worse. Unjudging people, a place where you're not judged for things you do, is for me an ideal planet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, which cartoon would you want to live in for a day?
Which cartoon? There are many. Popeye, probably, if you would have asked me 10, 15 years before, Popeye is like, I really want to, like, how are you even eating this kira? You convinced me as a child to eat. Yeah, you convinced me to eat leafy vegetables. How can you even do that? And in terms of books, uh, many books. Probably children book, right? There is recently I read Jumka and the Rice Raksash. It's a very small book by Pratham. So I want to be in that book. So it's not that one, two books, like many books. Probably a universe where there are all the characters and I can just say, hi, how are you? You performed really well, like a film fair for cartoons. Probably that would be an ideal dream. It's a dream, no? So it could be a big dream.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, if you could bottle up any aroma, what would it be?
What love and aroma? What would it be? Um, it may sound very sentimental, but I always felt after I lost my grandmother, the smell of her sari, right? It was there for a month, it was there for 2 months, it was there for 3 months, but eventually the room lost every essence of her in 7 to 8 months. And it's been 6 years now. There isn't any smell of her anymore, but you still have that. And yeah, that's one thing probably, like whenever I want to have like open and like snuff and like, oh, okay, that reminds me of her. So yeah, that's something. And I always think, why can't we have museum of smell or museum of what if you have books which have different smells to it? Why you can't, right? You really can't. You can recreate something, but when you recreate, that's not the original anymore, right? So yeah, like we have sounds and all that. Why can't there be? Yeah, that's one thing.
So, if you had the chance to live in a place made up of just one color, what would it be? What color would it be?
It may sound completely contradicting to whatever I spoke now. It will either be brown or black.
Black for me as well.
Yeah, brown or black, but I should have a chalk. I should have a chalk, like which I can just brown or black is my color.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the most interesting thing that you would choose to make a floor, a ceiling, and a wall in your house.
Should it also be hypothetical?
Yeah, it's hypothetical. You can choose anything.
What could it be? Something which can give me the smell of old books. Because I don't like stamping on books, but my room is filled with books everywhere, which I get yelled at for always. But what if that could be recreated somewhere in mud or clay or impressions? Yeah, something like that.
So, the last one,
Yeah.
where do you think lost objects go?
I think you lose an object or a memory to yourself only. You can't lose it to other person, right? So for me, an object, even if it is lost physically, it is still within you. That's why you keep searching for something, even if you know it is still lost, right? So I think that's the you that's you can't say beauty of it, but when you lose something only, that gains more prominence in your head. If it is still there, like for example, there will be like a book or something in your table for a very long time which you don't even care, okay, but suddenly someone cleans your room and that is not there, you'll be like, what happened to that thing that was there? You wouldn't have even touched it for years, or you wouldn't have even noted it. So when you know something is going or gone, that gains a far more important place in your head than the rest of the thing. I think it, when something is lost physically, it gains one place. It's all compartmentalized.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shweta, do you want to?
That didn't go like a rapid fire. No, I answered it like a 5 mark, no, 16-mark question.
No, I think that's about it. Yes, thank you so much. We had so much of fun with you today. And we do have a memento for you, which we will probably courier it to you because virtual event.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And that's one of my favorite pictures too. Yeah.
We're glad we picked the right one. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Andrea. And thank you,
Thank
Shweta.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 So before we introduce our next speaker, Bharat, do you want to announce a giveaway winner?
Yeah, thank you.
Bharat's not here.
That was a wonderful session. Okay, so we had poetry contest, and I really enjoyed reading all the poems. It was so beautiful and filled with emotion, and it was very difficult for us to choose the winners. So instead of two, we picked four winners. Okay, so I'll just announce their names, and later we'll put up their poems on our Instagram. So please follow us at novelnation.org. So the first winner is Nia Chari. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. So congratulations. And next winner is Kanaya Shah. Congratulations, Kanaya. And the third winner is Bharat Chandra. Congratulations, Bharat. And last winner is Sahil Islam. So congratulations to all of you. And we'll email you your Amazon vouchers as soon as possible. Thank you once again for everyone for participating. And thank you,